Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's finally here, the trade up video. I just want to show y'all what it takes to trade up within the top 10 of an NFL draft, because it's obvious we need a quarterback. I mean, the fact that there's even talk about rotating quarterbacks, and if you're watching this after the Buccaneers game, whatever happened, win or loss, we need a quarterback. Our defense is Super Bowl ready. Our receiving core with one more weapon is Super Bowl ready. Our running back group, it would be nice to add some depth, but it's Super Bowl ready. Another linebacker, a better free safety, and most importantly, a quarterback from being Super Bowl contenders, period. Quarterback play has held us back all season. So I want to look at some of the trades throughout history. I mean, the furthest back I'm going is 2011. Of all of the trades of teams outside of the top 10, somewhere like 15 or later, have traded up into the top 10 and what it took to do so. And the results will be pretty surprising for most of y'all, because it's not as bad as you think. You don't have to give up just a whole bunch of first round picks. This is actually quite doable. Now, like I've said in live streams and videos, I would have preferred to avoid having to trade up, because Kyle Smith has shown that with third round picks, you can get a Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson. With fifth round picks, you can get Tim Settle and Cole Holcomb. With a sixth round pick, you can get Chase Roulier. With seventh round picks, you can get Cameron Curl. So we've seen Kyle Smith get great talent. I mean, Pro Bowl level talent later in the draft. So ideally, I don't want to give up any of these picks. I mean, first round, second round, even seventh round picks to have to trade up. But it's the reality right now. Whatever you have to do, go and get your franchise quarterback. Now, don't force it. I love Trey Lance. He's one of my favorites, if not my favorite, if we're just talking outside of Trevor Lawrence. But if you're not in love with this guy, if Scott Turner doesn't love this guy and doesn't envision a great offense with him, don't take him. Same with Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, whoever. Don't give up all of that value trading up. Or even if you don't trade up, if they fall in your lap, don't even use a first round pick for them if you don't envision this quarterback being your future, your star quarterback that's going to lead you to Super Bowls. And don't pick him if you're going to force him to fit into your offense. Make sure you design an offense around him, because we've seen young quarterbacks as of these past 4 years come out balling, even rookie seasons at times, because these offensive coordinators and head coaches are willing to build their offense around the talent and not force their talent to fit into the offense they currently have. I believe Scott Turner will do that, because we've seen with Alex Smith and Dwayne Haskins and Kyle Allen, the offense looks different. He calls different plays and all of that type of stuff, different formations, all of that. There's a different rhythm into how he calls plays. So I have faith that no matter what the quarterback is going into 2021, which I doubt is what we currently have. I mean, even if he isn't the starter immediately, even if he has to sit for a while, I feel like we're going to draft a quarterback. Me personally prefer to trade up if we have to get Lance, Wilson, or Fields. But whoever we end up with, I have faith in Scott Turner, Ron Rivera, and all of these guys, based off of what they've given us in this first season, to believe that they will make the right decision. Me personally, I feel like Trey Lance is the right decision, because at the very least, you can run the offense that Lamar Jackson runs. I feel like Trey Lance is just a slightly less fast Lamar Jackson with far more throwing potential. So at the very least, you can run a similar offense to what the Ravens are running, and then work from there to get him to become more consistent with his footwork when he's throwing, to be able to read defenses better, all of that type of stuff, to catch up to the NFL speed coming from North Dakota State University. I feel like at the very worst, at his floor, you can run something similar to what Lamar Jackson is running in Baltimore. So I just don't really even see how you can mess that up. Or at least what the Panthers ran with Cam Newton, because I feel like coming out of college, Lance is more polished than Cam Newton. He may not be as strong, but he's faster. So at the very least, do that. Ron Rivera's had experience with working with that. Scott Turner's father has had experience working with that. Scott Turner's learned from under his father. I feel like you can make Lance work no matter how you look at it, because at the very least, you're getting a big, strong, fast guy with a strong arm. May not be consistent yet, but the tools are there. Josh Allen coming out of college, less mobile than Trey Lance, slightly stronger arm, but way less accurate, way worse of a decision maker, and look how Josh Allen's ended up. So that's just my little spiel there. Let's go ahead and get to this video. Let's get it. And y'all make sure y'all go check out that Morgan Moses pancake that's at IHOP right now. I'm not in the DMV, so I don't even know what's on it. I don't know what's going on, but people have been telling me about this Morgan Moses pancake, so make sure y'all go check that out. If you're in the DMV area, definitely go get you one. Now, I'm a plain guy. I like my pancakes literally just plain butter with syrup. But if I'm ever in the DMV, I'ma definitely order a Morgan Moses pancake, even if I don't think I'ma like it, just to support it. May not eat it, but I'ma buy it. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Rich for being on my head about making sure I tell y'all about it. Again, I want to emphasize, don't trade up if you don't love one of these guys. If you just kind of like them, don't force it. If we have to go into next year with Taylor Heinicke and Kyle Allen, doubt Alex Smith just because of his health and how much money he's making. I mean, $25 million next year, you cut him, you save 15 of that million. I just don't see him being here. Maybe go get a free agent quarterback, whoever. But at the end of the day, don't force it. I love Trey Lance, but if Scott Turner doesn't love Trey Lance, even if he just likes Trey Lance, if he doesn't love him, if he doesn't feel like this guy can lead us to the Super Bowl and win it, don't take him, period. I'm not that arrogant. I love Trey Lance, and I feel like he can lead us to Super Bowl victories. But if Scott Turner and Ron Rivera don't both love him, Kyle Smith, don't do it. Don't do another Dwayne Haskins where the only guy that likes him is Dan Snyder, or just one guy in general. Where Bruce Allen, Kyle Smith, and Jay Gruden pleaded with Dan Snyder to not take Haskins. Now look where we are. Take the guy you love, Trey Lance or not. I don't like Mac Jones or Kyle Trask enough to pick him in the second round, let alone the first. But if you don't want to take a first round QB, I feel like you might as well wait till like the third or fourth round and take somebody that you can work on and try to develop. But outside of Trey Lance, Wilson, and Justin Fields, I don't feel like it's worth taking a quarterback within the first 3 rounds, honestly. Might as well wait till next year or go and get a free agent, whatever. But free agency is before the draft, so we'll know by then what we're doing in the draft. We'll know what our draft strategy truly is. If we don't have a Matthew Stafford or Dak Prescott or Matt Ryan or whoever else any of y'all may want in free agency, then you know what we're doing in the draft. They've shown how much they don't truly believe in Kyle Allen with when we benched Dwayne Haskins. When Kyle Allen first stepped in, Ron Rivera said we're going to monitor him game by game. So if he just even slightly looks like he may not be the guy, then he's getting benched for Alex Smith. There was no belief in him. And remember, Ron Rivera took Kyle Allen as an undrafted free agent, and Kyle Allen is the one that got him fired from Carolina in the first place. And then Taylor Heinicke, with how good he looked that fourth quarter, I know the playoffs were on the line, but if you truly believed in Taylor Heinicke, first of all, you would have brought him over from Carolina when you came, because Taylor Heinicke was available. He's been out there, and you had him in Carolina. You had a good look at him. And then also, you would have started him against the Eagles, who was probably the most beat up team we've played all NFL season. If you believed in Taylor Heinicke even a little bit, you would have started him against one of the most hurt teams we've gone against, especially defensively this season. And then again, clearly to me, Alex Smith is not the answer, and I'm pretty sure they know he's not the future. They have to see this talent on the team and know Alex Smith, especially at the current state he's in health-wise, is holding us back. Appreciate everything he did for us this season. Not only should he win Comeback Player of the Year award, but it should be named after him after this point. But looking beyond this year, looking beyond just the middle of the season, it's time to move on and save yourself $15 million. I mean, that may be what Brandon Sheriff is just asking alone by himself. You could just take that money alone and pay Brandon Sheriff per year for the next few years and shore up that right guard position for the future. Then after that, you'll still have almost $50 million to spend elsewhere, re-signing Jonathan Allen and all these other guys, or go and get a big playmaker at the free safety position or wide receiver position in free agency. Ron Rivera trying to get Amari Cooper for $22 million a year shows that he believes we need another wide receiver. Nothing's really changed. He already saw Terry McLaurin in his rookie season, showed all that talent. Terry McLaurin didn't do anything even more spectacular this year per se. He was still just as Pro Bowl level talent as he was last season, so I'm pretty sure it hasn't changed. Ron Rivera may be aggressive at trying to acquire a receiver again this offseason with Kenny Golladay and Allen Robinson out there. But again, I'm digressing. Let's go ahead and get into this. First of all, I want to show y'all the quarterbacks that are starting in this year's playoffs and when they were drafted. I mean, as you see on the screen, first overall, second overall, 4th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 11th, 24th, and 32nd. So out of 14 starting QBs, 11 of them were taken in the first round. That should tell you something. First round quarterbacks matter. I know people say that if you get a first round quarterback, it isn't guaranteed to be a hit. But we're seeing that outside of the first round, your chances of getting a quarterback that can even take you to the playoffs are very slim. And these are special cases. Drew Brees, I'll give you that. But Russell Wilson will never happen again. We've seen that. Because remember, Russell Wilson was only not taken top 10 overall in his draft because of his height. He looked so great in college. He looked like he could do everything. He looked like he would be everything. You could see him being what he is at the NFL level. At the college level, teams literally only passed on him, and he only went 75th overall because of his height. And we've seen now that the NFL will never make that mistake again. Kyler Murray was taken first overall in spite of his height. Baker Mayfield, the same thing in spite of his height. Teams will never make that mistake again. There will never be another Russell Wilson again. It's almost impossible to get a Russell Wilson out of the first round again. It's just not going to happen. And even then, it's extremely rare. And speaking of rare, 199th, Tom Brady, that's not going to happen again. I dare another franchise within the next 30 years to find the greatest quarterback of all time outside of the first round, let alone 199. So go ahead and just put that to rest. And now I know that it just so happens that the 3 quarterbacks that went first overall are probably the 3 worst quarterbacks in the playoffs. But that's a Trevor Lawrence problem. Trey Lance will not be going first overall. He may not even go top 10. So if you look at it as outside of the first overall guys, or even second, or even fourth, I don't think Trey Lance will go top 5. You have Josh Allen, Ryan Tannehill, Pat Mahomes, Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, and maybe Lamar Jackson. Maybe. Because I don't think Trey Lance is making it out of the top 15, honestly. But you never know. So Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson aren't necessarily aligned with Trey Lance's draft potential. But you still have Josh Allen, Ryan Tannehill, Mahomes, and Ben Roethlisberger as projections for Trey Lance as far as success goes. Again, you may want to consider it luck, chance, or whatever. But based on when quarterbacks have been drafted, with how the playoffs are shaped up, Trey Lance estimated to go somewhere in between that 7 to top 20 range. Those are the quarterbacks you have. Now let's look at what it actually takes to get up into the top 10 from the 19th pick we currently have. In my opinion, you play it safe and go within the top 10 at the worst top 10. But let's get to it. Again, it's not as bad as you think. Let's get to the main topic of this video. First of all, you have the Bills and Chiefs trade in 2017. The Chiefs gave the Bills the 2017 first round pick, number 27th overall, which is further back than what we are. We're 19th. That's a whole 8 picks. And also the 2017 third round pick, 91st overall, and then a 2018 first round pick, number 22 overall, which I feel like is worth it. I'm willing to give up 2 firsts and a third to move up to the 10th overall pick in the 2017 draft, where they ended up getting Pat Mahomes. I'm willing to do that. And again, we shouldn't have to do that because we have the 19th pick, not the 27th. And value compounds as you go up and up in the draft, especially in the first round. It's compounded value. Like going from the 15th pick to the 10th pick isn't the same as going from the 10th pick to the 5th. So with us having the 19th pick instead of the 27th, you probably only have to give up a first, third, and maybe like another third or a second. But you shouldn't have to give up a first, third, and a first to move up into that number 10th pick. And I feel like that 10th pick is safe enough to get a Trey Lance. With all of the teams picking in the top 10, not necessarily needing QBs or already having a QB on such a serious contract, they'll probably just end up waiting till the next draft, the 2022 draft or later. I feel like we're picking in the top 10, we're good. Again, 10th pick, a 3rd round pick and a 5th round pick in that same 2018 draft to get the 10th overall pick, with which they took Josh Rosen. And that's only 4 picks ahead of us. So, I mean, I say it worst, first pick, 3rd pick. In our second, third, we have 2 thirds. Remember that? We got the other one from the Trent Williams trade. So, hey, our current first, the 19th overall pick and our 2 thirds to move up to 10? Sure, gotta do that. To take your franchise quarterback? Again, only do this if you love Trey Lance, if you love Zach Wilson, whoever is available there. Only do that if they're available at that point. We'll see how the draft board falls, but hey, again, only do it if you love these guys. I love Trey Lance, but if Scott Turner doesn't love Trey Lance, then so be it. Don't take him. Now, our third recent example. The recent examples have burgundy backgrounds. The ones that are a little way back, like 2012 and 2013, are going to have gray backgrounds, which you'll see. And then the furthest back I go is 2011, that has a black background. But the last of the very recent trades, this one is 2019. The Steelers gave up their 20th pick, which is 1 pick behind us, their 2nd round pick, and their 3rd round pick to move up to number 10. They ended up taking Devin Bush, but we can do that exact same thing, and I wouldn't be mad at that. Give up your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd for your potential franchise star quarterback that can lead you to division victories like we've had this year, but more convincingly for many years to come. Remember, no team in this division has won the division twice in a row, and I believe like at least 15 years, somewhere around there, like 15 years. And I feel like if you take your franchise quarterback, you trade up, whatever you do, whatever value you give up is worth it. I mean, the RG3 trade would have been worth it if he weren't injury prone, if the Shanahans didn't give up on him so early, if Jay Gruden didn't give up on him so early. But again, I mean, even before we took RG3, I knew he had a lot of talent, but I saw even at Baylor, before we drafted him, I was like, he's injury prone, be careful, and it ended up happening. I don't feel like Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, or Justin Fields have a similar projection. They're all extremely talented, but also very durable. But even so, you won't have to give up anywhere near as much value to get one of those guys as you did with the RG3 trade. This is the value you have to give up, and it's not bad. This is definitely worth getting your franchise guy, period. I'll be willing to give up even more if necessary. And before we move on, let's look at some of these teams that are very likely to trade down. Because now the Jets, if they're not going to get Trevor Lawrence, they may not be sold on Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, or Trey Lance. So they may trade down. Now, the number 2 pick is going to be a steep price, but they're likely to trade down. The Dolphins, playing with house money, that's the Houston pick. And then if they really believe in Tua and want to build around him, they could trade down and get all sorts of picks for that number 3 overall pick and build around Tua, and they're ahead of schedule where they were supposed to be. I mean, the fact that they didn't make the playoffs at 10-6 is still crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, they went 10-6. Their team's future is very bright, and I feel like if you just build around Tua and use those picks, whatever you acquire from trading back from number 3, you should be a really good team going into next season. And then the Falcons, I mean, unless they really believe in an edge rusher, if they really love a corner, they just really love Jamar Chase to replace Julio, who they may end up trading away, or if they just want to take a quarterback to learn behind Matt Ryan for the next couple of years, because Matt Ryan's on contract for at least the next 2 years, I believe, then they stay at 4. Otherwise, you trade back. The Bengals, if you can't get Penei Sewell with the 5th overall pick, they're likely to trade back. The Eagles, they love Jalen Hurts. Now, it's unlikely for teams to trade picks within the division, but the Eagles are likely to trade back. The Lions, unless they're ready to move on from Matt Stafford this year, which I feel like they may not be. I feel like they may wait until the 2022 draft to take a quarterback possibly. Then they may trade back. Then you have the Panthers, who I feel like are quite likely to take a quarterback, but you never know. They may go another year with Teddy Bridgewater and take their quarterback in 2022 also. Then you have the Broncos. I'm not sure if they believe in Drew Lock, but if they do, they may trade back. They may be willing to trade with us. The Cowboys, everywhere I'm hearing, they're going to go Dak Prescott. They're going to re-sign him long-term for whatever money he wants. That's the word around everywhere around the NFL. Guys close to the team, everything. So they're likely a candidate to trade back. And even the Giants, if they, for some reason, believe in Daniel Jones, they may trade out of that pick. Or just take another guy. I mean, somebody that's just not a quarterback. There's a lot of teams ahead of us, specifically in the top 11, that may be willing to trade back. And even if they don't, they're not taking quarterback, which is good news for us. I feel like the 49ers are one of the scariest teams as far as possibly taking a quarterback. I can see them trading up to take one. But if they stay at 12 and we trade up in front of them to number 10 or within the top 10, we can get Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, or Justin Fields if he somehow slides that far. Now let's take it back to 2012. The Cowboys had the 14th overall pick, 5 picks ahead of ours, and only had to give up that pick and the second to move up to number 6. That's beautiful. I mean, again, value compounds as you go up, so going from 19th pick to 14th isn't the same from going from 23rd to 19th. So we'll definitely have to give up more value than just a first and a second. Probably a first, second, and our 2/3, or just maybe 1/3, or maybe our first, second, and a first next year, or whatever. But again, it's still worth it, especially to move up all the way to number 6, not even 10, number 6. Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, or Justin Fields will certainly be there available by then. One of those top 4 quarterbacks are going to be there. Then the next scenario, the 2013 draft. The Raiders with the 12th pick, again, a lot of value, so we're going to have to give up more than this to move up to number 3. The Dolphins gave up their first and their second to move up to the number 3 overall pick. But they had the 12th overall pick compared to our 19th, so we would have to give up more value than right here, just the first and the second. But again, first, second, 2/3, maybe first, second, and next year's first, still worth it to move up to number 3 to have the whole draft board available. Because again, the Jets may not even be sold on Justin Fields, so you move up to number 3, you can more than likely pick between Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, or Trey Lance, whichever one you like the most. And I think a first, second, and next year's first is worth it. For your franchise guy, come on now. Again, only if they love one of those guys. I'm not forcing this trade scenario. This is only if they love Lance, Fields, or Wilson. And then another scenario in 2013, 16th overall pick, gave up their first, second, third, and 7th to not only move up to 8th overall, which is great as far as trying to get Trey Lance or Zach Wilson, or maybe even Justin Fields, but they also got a 3rd round pick in return. And I would love this trade. If you just change that 16th overall pick to 19th and we give up our first, second, third, and seventh to get a first and a third, especially the number 8 pick, even if you just take away some value, if you're going from 16 to 19, maybe you change that 8 to a 9. I'm definitely doing that. I'm doing that in a heartbeat. First, second, third, seventh to move up to the 9th pick and get a 3rd round pick in return. I'm doing that in a heartbeat. For our franchise guy, for sure. And then lastly, the 2011 draft, the Falcons gave up their 26th overall pick. Again, quite a bit of value behind our 19, but they gave up their 1st round pick, 2nd, 4th, 1st the next year, and their 4th the next year to get the 6th overall pick in that draft. Now this trade's a little ugly because again, we have the 19th and the Falcons gave up their 26th. Again, I just see it being a scenario to where we don't make this trade before the draft. We see how the board falls, and if Trey Lance and or Zach Wilson are available at like the 10th pick, 9th pick, or 8th pick, then you make that trade while that other team is on the clock, and then suddenly it just says the Washington football team is on the clock, and now you already know we're taking a quarterback. We've traded up. We're taking one of those guys that's available. If there's only one left between Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, and Justin Fields, then you already know who we're going to take. You can go ahead and write that in. As soon as it goes from potentially with the 7th pick, the Lions on the clock, as soon as you see that W come up, just already know we're taking one of those quarterbacks. But that's all of the trade-up scenarios that even kind of make sense that I could find recently. Again, I only went back as far as 2011 because the NFL landscape changes. Guys get smarter and smarter. I don't want to go too far back like the 1995 draft and see what trades happened then because things are different now. So I didn't want to go too far back. But just going back as far as 2011, I was able to find 7 trade scenarios that I'd be willing to do to get our franchise star quarterback that's going to lead us to Super Bowl victories. Again, a lot of people think that once you draft a rookie quarterback, it's going to take 3-4 years and our defense is ready to win now. Why would you do that? But again, if you design an offense like a lot of these other offensive coordinators are doing, you can win now with these guys, especially with the situation we have. I don't know why people think, especially with how mobile Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, and Justin Fields are, that you can't at least run a dink and dunk offense like we run now. Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, and Justin Fields can throw it 5 yards and throw screens. So at the very least, you're getting that. But also, you're opening up the offense because both of these guys can use their legs, and both of these guys have stronger arms. So with the stronger arm, the run game opens, and the underneath passing game opens because safeties have to play honest and stay deep. So that's at least 2 guys back there just because of their arm strength. You see how teams play Josh Allen and all of these other strong arm quarterbacks. And then with the mobility, it opens things up over the top because they're trying to at least keep some type of QB spy on the guy. You see how hard it is with us, even us having the 2nd rated defense, how hard it is for us to stop mobile quarterbacks. So I feel like we need to put that same pressure on other teams. And again, to reiterate, whenever I say mobile quarterbacks, I'm not necessarily saying they have to be Lamar Jackson fast. I've never said they have to be an RG3 or even a Kyler Murray. Just at least be a Josh Allen, a Pat Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers. Just somebody that can move in the pocket, get a first down with their legs if they have to. Right now, we currently don't have that. And I feel like Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and Trevor Lawrence, even though that's impossible to get, all have that plus strong enough arms to do things that Alex Smith couldn't do this season. I feel like they're all far more athletic and smarter with the ball than a Kyle Allen is. And again, stronger arm to pose a bigger threat than Kyle Allen ever did. And I love Taylor Heinicke's 4th quarter, but we've only seen it for 1 quarter. And again, all of these guys have stronger arms and are more mobile than he was in that 4th quarter. And you see how much our offense opened up that 4th quarter just by us putting in a guy that's willing to throw it deep, that can throw it deep, that's smart with the football, and is mobile. Or at least more mobile than what we've had. Taylor Heinicke isn't even just the most mobile guy out here doing it. But he was mobile enough to open up the offense for Scott Turner to call a wider range of plays than he could for Haskins, Alex Smith, and Kyle Allen. So I feel like, again, at the worst, you take a Trey Lance. At the worst, you can run an offense similar to what the Ravens are doing, but we have Logan Thomas instead of Mark Andrews. You can compare them however you want, which one you like better, but I know for a fact Terry McLaurin is better than Hollywood Brown, and I feel like our overall receiving core, especially with Kelvin Harmon back today, even before free agency or the draft, is better than what the Ravens have. I feel like our offensive line is comparable, and our defense is better. So at the very least, when you get Trey Lance, you can do what the Ravens are doing. At the very least. Again, Trey Lance may not be as fast as Lamar Jackson, but it's not this big difference that a lot of people think. And also, Trey Lance is more polished coming out of college as far as accuracy, throwing mechanics, and things like that. He has a lot to work on, but he's more polished and just an overall better thrower than Lamar Jackson was coming out of college. Trey Lance just has more potential, in my opinion. So, take Trey Lance, or if you're a Zach Wilson guy, whoever. But you're going to have to probably trade up within the top 10 to do that. And like I've shown y'all in this video, it's not as bad as you think. You don't have to do an RG3 trade to get these guys, to get your star quarterback that's going to lead us to multiple Super Bowl victories, to lead us to consecutive division titles, which again hasn't happened in like 15 years in this division for anybody. It's time to take over the NFC East, y'all. I really feel like, linebacker should be improved, safety should be improved, wide receiver 2 may be necessary, some running back depth may be also, some offensive line depth, whatever. But none of those are as big of a need as quarterback right now, point blank period, as you've seen in these games, which I've been saying for several weeks, even before Alex Smith got re-injured. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please like this video if you liked it. If you learned anything, please subscribe if you haven't. I'm gonna keep coming with more videos like this. I'm coming out with a 2021 schedule analysis, because they've already told us who our home and away opponents are. So I'm going to come out with that video probably tomorrow or something. I'm going to keep hitting y'all with content. It's never stopping. I'm going to do reviews for players. We're going to do film session reviews for players. Like, what was Cole Holcomb's year like? What was Chase Young's year like? What was Cameron Curl's year like? Terry McLaurin, all of these guys. We're going to do film session reviews on players that are already on the team. I'm going to do film sessions for potential free agents we may want to go get, like an Allen Robinson, maybe like an Anthony Harris or a Justin Simmons at free safety. And of course, I'm going to do film sessions for draftable prospects. And we're going to do film sessions on the prospects that we drafted after we get them. So be on the lookout for a lot of film sessions, man. Y'all know just because it's an off season for the NFL, it's not an off season for me. That's when I do my best work. So stay tuned for that. And as always, man, I really appreciate all the support, man. Everybody that views the video, everybody that likes the video, everybody that donates to the channel, all of my sponsors, especially all of my Pro Bowl sponsors whose names you see scrolling on the screen right now, man. Really appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.